Hello everyone, welcome back to Real Reds Talk, an authentic football fan channel made in Manchester, and today we're going to be taking a look at the managerial merry-go-round. We've had a lot of news coming out in the past 24 hours, whether it's false, true, whatever, anything in between, whether it's complete bollocks or, you believe Marcio, etc. We had stuff coming out about Mauricio Pochettino, that Chelsea have officially got rid of him, which I personally believe is stupid as fuck. I think the way Todd Bowley and Cole are handling stuff, at the top is just baffling to me. But again, I'm not a Chelsea fan, so I'm not going to sit here and just go in depth about that. But the main point is that he's going to be on the market, and apparently according to Time Sport he's interested in managing Manchester United. Now there is these links with Poch, because 2 years ago it was kind of Ten Hag and Poch were the two front runners for the job, and a lot of people were leaning towards Ten Hag. So it'd be weird now if we was to get rid of him, again according to Marcio, and then we did go for someone like a Poch, who I actually thought at Chelsea was doing, had a rocky start, very, very turbulent season. Had quite a few injuries, in fairness to him, like Manchester United, not to play the injury tune. But I thought, the second half of the season, he was one of the most informed teams, I think. It was like fourth in the league from like 2024 onwards. So he obviously turned things around. The players respected him. I think tactically he's not bad. I think everywhere he's been, the job he did at Southampton, the job he did at Spurs on kind of a shoestring budget was really, really good. Struggled a little bit at PSG, but we've seen PSG swallow some of the best managers, including, Unai Emery, Thomas Tuchel, etc. all get onto. But regardless, you look at it now, the amount of managers that are available. I mean, you just go through the list of them. You've got Poch, who just mentioned, who's, French champion, won multiple cups. Jose Mourinho's one where you're like, bit of a wild card. I do want him to return to the Premier League just for the pure box office press conferences. Like, I don't care who it is who he goes to, but just for that purpose, I want Jose Mourinho back in the Premier League, maybe not at Manchester United, so it's a wild card shout. You've also got Allegri, who's been kicking things up at Juventus and kicking up, so whether you want to kind of bring that kind of character to the club, and he's not really strongly linked with United anyway, but the guy still won 6 Serie A titles and multiple cups. Hansi Flick, World Cup winner, Champions League winner, Thomas Tuchel, Champions League winner, multiple league title with Bayern Munich, should I say, league title with PSG, cups. Yeah, you can go through them, and a lot of them, there is elite prestige managers out there. There's a huge list to choose from. Now, the ones that have been linked with United, predominantly from what I've seen, Roberto De Zerbi, who's just left Brighton, and apparently someone's paid a compensation fee. We've had Graham Potter in the past, who I've never been of the opinion that he could come to United and have that kind of authority. When you're walking in the dressing room when you've got players like, Marcus Rashford, Casemiro and these guys, and he's won a fucking, Swedish Cup or got a couple of promotions, it's hard to kind of command that respect and walk in and say, I'm the fucking man, I'm going to lead us back to titles. And I also don't think a lot of United fans would buy it, but maybe Ineos will go down that route. Maybe they will take someone, a bit of a squad builder, someone just focuses purely on football. But I still think they need that kind of box office personality to deal with the club as well. You need a blend of both. And there isn't an obvious choice out there. But also as well to mention, we're not the only club who are looking for a manager at the moment. You've got Barcelona potentially, because they're out of sorts with Xavi. He's going back and forth. Will he stay? Won't he stay? You've got Juventus, like I just mentioned, Allegri leaving. They're looking for a new manager. Thomas Tuchel's leaving Bayern Munich. You've got Pochettino, who's left Chelsea. AC Milan got rid of their manager. Brighton, De Zerbi gone. Napoli getting rid of their manager. So, there is a lot of significant managers in the swimming pool. And if United are ready to fish, I'd be interested to see who Ineos go for, because I think it's a huge decision heading into this next summer who you go and get, because it's not absolutely guaranteed that Ineos are going to come in and they're going to smash it. There's this kind of, people are putting them on a pedestal for a lot of the stuff that they've done so far, and rightfully so, like they're doing the right things, but putting it into practice and actually getting United back to winning Premier League titles and going far in Europe and having this prestige, being the type of club that we are, it's not guaranteed Ineos are going to get this bang on. So these decisions during the summer are going to be absolutely vital, because we're currently in 8th position. Well, we finished in 8th position. Probably not going to win the FA Cup final. I know that sounds very, very negative, but you just look at the reality, the situation that we're in at the moment. So, there's a big, big job on the hands, and like I said, they need to get it right. So, if we're to lay out a flat argument for the manager and have a balanced discussion, positives, negatives for Erik Ten Hag, what do we think would be on either side? Which one would outweigh the other? Because I look at the positives, I think he overachieved in his first season, League Cup win, third place finish, and he had fucking Wout Weghorst up top for the majority of it. So he significantly overachieved given what happened the season before. I think he's handled the Ronaldo situation really, really well, although some people may disagree with that, but I think he dealt with that well. He dealt with the Sancho situation and Antony and all the drama with the club takeover. He's nurtured some young talents in Rasmus Højlund, Alejandro Garnacho, Kobbie Mainoo he's brought through. Remember that picture of him after the Carabao Cup win where he's got his arm around his shoulder and he's kind of saying, no, this could be you in the next kind of couple of years. I don't think he meant at the time that you're going to finish fucking 8th, but again, that's another story for a different day. So the players that he's brought through, really, really promising. Now you need to bring the right kind of talent around that to nurture it. You need to, water the plant correctly. And I believe given time you can do that, but I just don't know whether Ineos are going to do it. Negatives, you have to be honest, this season, underwhelming, finishing 8th despite the injuries. It's an excuse, but only to a certain extent. 400 million quid spent, that's another thing that you have to talk about. I think, you look at the majority of the transfers that he's personally brought in, because he didn't really trust Murta and co above him, I would probably say it's about a 40% success rate. Mount, he bought for big money, not that it hasn't worked, but he's just not been available all season. So as a transfer, it's been a bit of a flop because we've barely seen him. Onana's, I'm still on the fence a little bit about him. I think he's performed fantastically well in some games, but I also think some of the mistakes he's made, especially in the Champions League campaign. My face after Ziyech scored them 2 free kicks, I was like, fuck, get this guy out. Right? I was losing my rag with him. He's bounced back a little bit, but I'm still a little bit suspicious, a little bit unorthodox in his goalkeeping style, the way he saves shots. So yeah, the signings are questionable. You can go through them all. Especially in the second year, Eriksen and Casemiro just completely fell off this season. So signings, very questionable. It's risky to stick with him. It's not guaranteed he's got to turn it around just because it is a new regime above him. I think his tactics at times in certain games where he's just going gung-ho and basically risking it on a bit of a coin flip. Just saying, yep, you know what, we've got the better attackers, we'll win this game, we'll just have an end-to-end, turn it into a bit of a street fight, a bit of a Nate Diaz fucking team, and let's see what happens. And the reality of the situation is, you look at fucking Brentford, 31 shots, Crystal Palace beat us 4-0, Nottingham Forest beat us 2-1, Fulham beat us 2-1 or 3-1 at Old Trafford, I think it was. So them kind of results, regardless, whatever way you look at it, unacceptable for Manchester United, and the tactics were very questionable. And a lot of people were asking for pragmatism in this chaotic stage where we're conceding 20 shots to Luton, 20 shots to Fulham, 30 shots to Brentford every single game. The most in the league, I think it was, or second to Sheffield. The goal difference is unacceptable. And that's on the manager, whether you want to talk about injuries or not. He's responsible for a big part of that. So let's get into the potential replacements if Ineos do pull the trigger on Erik ten Hag. So the 3 managers I have in mind, and again, this is not me, I'm just going to put a wild card in there just for shits and giggles, basically, just to say what if and his resume and blah, blah, blah. I'll get into that in a moment. Poch, I would consider. And again, a lot of people may not be happy with this, but there are strong links there for a reason. I think there was potential opening for him to become the new manager at Nice, which is why Ineos kind of have a working relationship with him. He's known for building squads. I touched on Southampton before and Tottenham and the job that he did there. His Premier League experience, you can't look past that. I believe he's managed nearly, 400 games? No, 294 games, in the Premier League. So very, very good experience when you throw that line out there, Premier League proven or whatever. You look at his spend at Chelsea, he spent quite a bit of money. For a similar amount to Ten Hag, funnily enough, 415 million quid. Casado, 115. Lavia and Nkunku, Palmer, Disasi, all costing close to 50 million quid. You've got a couple of nice signings in there. Jackson for 30 million, which is another kind of controversial one where some people think he's really, really good. Some people think, no, shit, not having him at all. I like him. I think he's good. I think the stats that he's put up this season is relatively good as well. He has missed a lot of big chances, it has to be said. But again, he's a young striker, so you can work with that. So his expenditure's quite big. What surprised me is when I looked at Thomas Tuchel, again, the accolades are there with him, Champions League winner, strong character, managed Bayern, Dortmund, PSG, Chelsea, focuses on teamwork, discipline, innovation, player development, tactically experienced in a lot of the big games and can kind of switch from multiple systems. You saw at Dortmund, he was like a 4-3-3 attacking, rotational game. Went to PSG, switched multiple systems from like a 4-2-2, 4-2-3-1. And then when you saw him at Chelsea, bring that kind of back 5 style, very hard to beat, defensively sound. And I remember when he first came in at Wolves, Against Wolves, I think it was the first game, you know, Lampard had been leaking more goals than what we were doing towards the end of the season, and they needed someone to come in and offer that, and obviously he came in straight away, and you saw the difference immediately with him training like 1 week. You could recognise the style. Now, what a lot of people say about him is he's a strong character. He clashes with players, so no doubt you put him in United's dressing room, there's going to be fucking hair dryers, there's going to be back and forth, there's going to be players moving, like the Sancho situation, for example. We've got a lot of players like that, and I think he would certainly clash. But if he can bring what he brought to Chelsea in the time that they needed it in a similar fashion, I wouldn't be opposed to that. I think he's a good manager. I think even if you look at his net spend at Bayern, whilst he's been there, obviously he's got a big signing in Harry Kane in £90 million. You've got Kim Min-jae fifth there, but then you've got Sasha Bowie right back, 30 million quid. You've got Peretz, who's a young player, Zaragoza, 5 million quid. He's actually not spent that much money. Obviously his biggest signing, if you just look at it isolated, is Kylian Mbappe for like fucking 200 million quid. But usually he doesn't spend like on a broad range of players like a lot of money, I'm saying, in comparison to like Poch at Chelsea. So Tuchel I would consider, but I don't think he fits what Ineos want. He might fit what we want as fans, what we want as individuals, but I think Ineos are going to go down a different route. I actually think they're probably going to go down a younger manager who they can work with and build with. McKenna's being mentioned. I think he's done incredibly well with Ipswich, you know, back-to-back promotions. But I think he needs a season in the Premier League first, and then maybe take them steps up as you can. Maybe go to a Brighton next, and then to a Manchester United if he's successful there as well. But I do like him as a coach. He got a lot of shit at the time when Ole was at the club, and I never really understood it. Him and Carrick, who I think are both great coaches. So McKenna certainly one to consider. De Zerbi, I mean, you want to talk about strong character. My God, this guy would clash with players. He has, you know, very strong in his conviction. Again, the trophy argument is there. What has he won? Has he won any trophies at all? Maybe won like a Romanian League Cup or something, and maybe he's won something with Shakhtar. I mean, it's not a mega resume, like impressive, is it? So that's another one that I would be suspicious about. The wild card, which again, people when they hear the name will be like, get to fuck, shut up. Jose Mourinho. Whatever you say about this guy, you look at his resume, it is unbelievable. You know, the Champions Leagues, the treble with Inter Milan, the Champions League, with Porto, the league titles he's won in Spain, Italy, the Premier League. I wouldn't be as quick. I'm not saying he should be a definite option, but I wouldn't be as quick to disregard it and just say definitely not. I don't know why. It's just something. Maybe it's just because I like him as a character as well. I like his persona. I think he's got the right characters to deal with United. But again, you look at, you know, towards the end, it got toxic and turbulent, and United actually backed the players over him. You know, players like Paul Pogba, Anthony Martial, Jesse Lingard, who actually, to be fair, was all right under Mourinho, but they stuck with the players rather than the manager. And you look at it back to this day now, his quotes still live on. Like, he spoke about certain players still being at the club who he wanted to get rid of. I think he's alluding to Martial and Marcus Rashford, who are very inconsistent in their performances. So the conclusion then with this managerial merry-go-round, to bring it, you know, back to the top, what we started off the show with, who would you go for? Do we need to go against this kind of narrative of sacking a manager every 2 years if it doesn't go well? Should you put faith in the manager? Should Erik ten Hag, or does he deserve 6 months under this Ineos umbrella? Will they give him a new contract? Because he signed a 3-year deal, I believe, in 2022 when he first joined the club. That's going to run out next season. So you're going to have to offer him something new, potentially. And maybe that's why they're thinking about pulling the trigger. Like, if we do put another 2-3 years and shit goes down the pan, we'll have to pay a lot of money, and then a lot of money to hire a manager. So maybe what Di Marzio was saying about him potentially going straight after the FA Cup final, maybe there is some kind of substance in that, but that's yet to be seen at the time of recording, at least. Maybe something will break after I finish this. But like I said, there are a lot of clubs looking for managers in the summer, so Ten Hag ain't going to be short of options. You've seen the links with Bayern Munich before. Maybe Barca will go for him. You know, you've got that kind of Cruyff link and all that kind of business. You've got loads and loads of clubs who will be looking for managers. So like I said, no managers are going to be short, and I think the mix-up in the summer with players alike and managers alike is going to be very, very interesting. So watch this space. Make sure you do smash a like on the video for us if you can. Subscribe to Real Reds Talk, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take it easy.